Hello and welcome to the Sisters for Fitness Wellness Show. I'm Stephanie Gaines-Bryant. Our guest today is Pam Reynolds, and she's a holistic healthcare practitioner. Welcome.
Welcome. How are you?
Very well. I'm doing very well. I am so glad to have you back.
Thank you. It is an honor to be back. I really enjoyed the last show. Yeah.
So we're going to talk about a couple of things today, including womb healing and energy healing and detox.
Okay.
So let's begin with the womb healing. What exactly is that?
Womb healing is a modality that is designed to help women. It is great for over 26 health issues that we may have, but it is also a energy type work where, depending on your practitioner and depending on the gift of your practitioner, we can do the energy work on a level where we're connecting the womb to the heart, understanding that everything that passes the heart may leave a mark, whether it's a happy moment or a sad, and the womb is a nurturing organ. It is in your sacral chakra, which is your chakra of creativity. And what it does is it nurtures and it holds and it prepares and it takes care of, but it also does it not only in the physical for preparation of our newborns, it is also there to nurture and hold on to that which we cannot release, which is pain and suffering.
A lot of women carry things, issues that we go through that are just unique to being women. And the organization that is based on this show, Sisters for Fitness, we deal with a lot of chronic illnesses that affect women, heart disease, diabetes, obesity, things like that. And I know as a woman that we carry a lot of our stress, that daily stress in the womb, or past hurts.
Yes,
we
yes,
carry.
yes, we do. Yes, we do. And that is the energetic part of the womb healing. Now, womb healing can be very similar to a spa-like V-steam, vaginal cleansing. Some call it yoni steaming. They're all the same except for the nature and the way that the practitioner performs it. For me, I perform mine the way I was taught to do womb healing, where my work is mainly to peel back the onion, to get in deep, to understand where the tears come from, to understand where the pain is. You say that you can't have a child. What is it around the space and the frequency and the energy and the vibration that you're in that also adds to the physical womb constricting so that you may not conceive or fully pass a child. And so when we get into all of that, believe it or not, it takes away a lot of the symptoms that are the physical cause for whatever their issue is.
A lot of African American women suffer from things like fibroids, and we suffer from other infertility issues that have to do with, for example, diabetes, the way our body processes sugar.
Yes, yes.
And a lot of it can be emotional hurts and scars.
Most of it is.
So there is not just one thing that can cause that, it's several things.
Exactly. I am also an herbalist, so I can also recommend particular herbs to strengthen the uterus, strengthen the womb, detoxing that will help to cleanse the area. We know that fibroids is just a blood clot that is very, very toxic. So also I would recommend that the woman goes through a form of detoxing. I would also present particular herbs that will help to shrink cysts and fibroids like partiarco, which is excellent. And just using a lot of homeopathic cleansers to just get them clean physically while we dig deep and peel back the onion emotionally, while we connect the womb to the heart spiritually. And of course, I do have a detox center, so we go through a series of colon hydrotherapy. We have the infrared sauna to release toxins through your largest eliminating organ, which is your skin, and they really get better. Is it one thing that works all the time? No. Sometimes they come in for womb healing, and they may not be so heavy in the emotion. They just may be getting ready to retire, and it's a new step in life, and a little bit over anxious and nervous about how it's going to be. So it's just a matter of just calming the senses, connecting the womb to the heart, because the heart is the organ that I always say, when you can't figure anything out, go there, because it will never lie to you. It will always be honest and truthful, and you can get the answers to what you're looking for. So it's not always that they are physically ill with some type of trauma going on in the womb. They could just be out of place for the moment. Yeah.
So exactly how does that work? Is there more than one way with the womb cleansing, or is it a device that you use? How exactly does that work?
It is designed for the woman to sit on, we call it a squat, on a pot, very similar to your portable potties. It is set up, and it is very comfortable. Of course, it has the hole in it, and it sits deep, so it places the woman in a squat. It is infused. When I speak to the client over the phone, they're going to give me information. If it's endometriosis, if it's infertility, if it's fibroids, then I'll know what to infuse the remedy in the pot with, that which will support the situation.
So there's a natural ingredient, oil or something inside the sauna?
Natural herbs. You're using natural whole leaf herbs of many sorts. I always use hawthorn berries because hawthorn berry supports the heart. I always use something like rosebud or lavender because it softens the energy. And then if it's fibroids or endometriosis, sometimes I can have a remedy that is already prepared that I could have purchased, or I can blend it myself.
So it's unique to whatever issue
you have.
The person is having.
Yes,
at the
if
time.
they call and say, hey, I'm not having any woman issues, I'm just fine, I'm just a little spacey, I'm not balanced, then I'll just use things that are very comforting to the heart, because I know that's where I'm going.
Okay, and so they're in the squat, and the sauna is...
And it's heated, it's heating, and so then they're wrapped. They're wrapped in 3 layers. They're completely disrobed, and underneath they are wrapped in layers, and then there's this huge African cloth that I use that is very, very heavy. And this is what causes them to sweat. So this is why it's called a sauna. So they are sweating profusely from the skin. They are releasing into the pot energetically and physically. What's in the pot is being absorbed into the womb, and we are having a conversation on what is pertinent on your heart, or what you might want me to ask you a question about. So when the client comes in, I'm already feeling whatever I'm feeling, and I'm getting the sense of where I'm going. I always give them a crystal, one to hold in one hand while we're doing the process, and the other in the other hand. And it may be I'm feeling they're disconnected spiritually. I might feel that they are disconnected in the heart and they're looking for love. I may feel that they need grounding, or I just may feel that it may be in the soul. It may be in a past time, in that life or a life before. So I give them what I'm feeling intuitively, and then we start the process. Most often, I believe what happens is the position, they become vulnerable, and they are either going to just burst out, or they'll say, can you just ask me a question?
That is a very vulnerable
place
to be.
It is. But
so your clients have to trust you in order
yes,
to...
they do. And I always thank them. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for trusting me, and thank you for trusting you to allow yourself to come in for a healing, to allow yourself to come in just to be raised from the vibration that you walked in the door with, just to be in a higher elevation, so that this is your step to step into the world whole. Yeah.
So not only does it bring about sweat, and the sweat is part of cleansing?
Definitely. Your skin is your largest eliminating organ. So we sit in wet saunas and infrared saunas for the healing. It's, yeah, we're going to lose some weight with thinking too, but there is a healing process that takes place when we sweat. The lymphatic system does not just release toxins. It does because it has the organs and it has the lymph system. But when you sweat profusely, if you're working out and your heart rate gets high enough that you break out into the sweat, your lymphatic system has a click-on system that says, hey, this is the time we can really let go. So it is detoxing. It is a magnificent form of detoxing, remembering that this is your largest eliminating organ. And for most of us, we either don't exercise, and even when we do, especially men, they may not do cardio. They may go in and do a lot of strength training, but never get that heart rate up high enough to release the sweat so that the lymphatic system can do its work.
Tears are another form of cleansing. What do you see with that?
Yes, it is definitely a release. I'm always, and everybody doesn't cry. I myself, I'm not a crier. And so I've been in many situations, and I would think, well, what is, but I think the more grief or the more remorse or the more anger and hate and hardening of the heart that we hold, the easier it is to upchuck it when you're vulnerable. I think when you're more balanced and I believe you have more control and you're just in a better space, so you don't have so much to upchuck. And so the client who is crying profusely, sometimes they do, sometimes I have to walk out, give them their moment and come back in. Some may shed just a few tears, but some may just tear up. But no matter how I see that, that is my first sign that we have touched the heart and we are now releasing.
And how long is the process?
Now the pot is not comfortable. When the woman first sits down, it feels okay. I have it padded with towels and everything is soft. The room is very warm and cozy and quiet. We're burning sage to cleanse the space. I have our rose water to just keep everything soft. So she'll feel okay for about 20-25 minutes, and then she'll start to get fidgety. I've sat on the pot. I know how it feels. It will get to you. Sometimes we can continue on for maybe 45-50 minutes. Sometimes it gets a little bit too much, and then without any hesitation, I never want anyone to be uncomfortable. So I'll begin to disrobe. I begin to unwrap. And that gives them the sense that, okay, we're getting ready to at least get up off the pot. But we're still talking. We're still going over. We're still processing everything that has been said.
Does it take more than one session?
Usually it does.
Because when you are peeling back, and that's a great way to frame it, you are pulling back.
Yes.
Onions.
Exactly.
And that takes a while.
It does. It depends on where we are. You're right. It takes a lot. I've had clients to come in and then they may come back and we'll do another. And then I may sense, well, maybe you should come in for Reiki the next time. And then they may do a Reiki. And what I always suggest is that they're 30 days apart. You are allowing yourself to heal. You're allowing yourself to observe the change. You're allowing yourself to respond. And notice that you're responding differently to things than you did before. So I would not ever ask anybody, unless they're like, hey, I got to get back in there. I need to get back in there. Usually it's 30 days apart at least.
What do you recommend to the person who's walking out of the door with all of these emotions exposed? What should they do? Drink water? I mean, what?
Well, what happens is they should drink water. We have water in the room. I become their hands. So they know that when they cry, I wipe their tears, because remember, they're totally covered and they can't use anything. They have the stones in their hands. So they drink plenty of water. The water is in the room. When they get up, they are always raised. If they came into my door in a vibration level at a 2, let's just say, it doesn't matter whether they're a 4 or whether they've shot up to an 8 or a 9. They are higher than they were when they came in. So first of all, they say, I feel so much better. I feel so much lighter. I just thank you, that kind of thing. So then you give them what they need. Stay in this space. You can feel the difference. You can feel when you're dropping. When things are not right, hold on to the space you're in. And it depends on the service. If it's the spiritual healing, then I will give them a journal. Begin to journal what comes out and separate this journal from any other journal that you're using. Begin to journal in this journal from what you're really feeling from this spiritual healing. Now, with Reiki and with womb healing, I also do an affirmation at the end, which seals the visit, which usually it is, well, 100% of the times it's so on point, and a lot of verbiage in it will be something that was said either by the client or myself in the healing, and it seals it for them. So to answer your question, it may take, I always say, at least an hour and a half for Reiki at least, and for womb healing, and that depends on how much is released and how quickly we can connect. The spiritual healing is not as long, usually in about an hour.
So you just mentioned a couple of tools that you use. Besides the herbs, you were talking about you also use things like crystals.
Yes.
As far as helping in bringing about certain energy. How can those tools help with other healing?
They help because the crystals and even rocks from the earth, understanding that we are all a product of Mother Earth, that in her promise to us, she would take care of us. And I don't think we realize and we don't connect enough, but she kept that promise to the T, and we have destroyed that. She offered us the water that we needed, and all we had to do was drink it. She promised us she would feed us. Everything we need, she grows for us in its natural form. She keeps us warm. We can use animals, or we're smart enough to make material from trees so we can stay warm. She gives us the sun for our light. Everything is there. So that in itself keeps whatever comes out of her as rocks and crystals and wood and fire and wind. And what it does is it enhances and amplifies whatever healing or whatever energy work you're doing. Now, does it have a lot, except beauty, does it have a lot of strength on its own? Not necessarily. But when you take it and you apply it to the work and your energy field, it can help to amplify the field. So it can only make things greater for the client.
You also do spiritual healing, but let's start off by emphasizing the point that you don't have to be of any particular religion to deal with spiritual healing.
Exactly. And it can be called many things. It doesn't matter whether it's spiritual healing. Some call it fourth dimensional healing. I've had ninth dimensional healing where it removes generational curses. I think we get mixed up on energy work, spiritual healing, trying to figure out, is it real, is it not, is it good, is it bad? So I think the names confuse us and it takes us away from the actual work. So you're right, it is not about your religion or even your space. You don't even have to be a religious person. You could be an atheist. But we can all agree that we are children of God, of a source. And that source, universal light, we can call it just source. We know that regardless as to how we travel, that we are connected in that space. And therefore, the healing can take place for us who hold the space in that vibration, on that frequency, regardless as to who you are, where you came from, what you look like, and what you say.
So another thing that you deal with, as we just mentioned, is that spiritual, or is that type of healing. How does that work?
That is a very, very powerful type of healing. And even though everything that I do is powerful, because not to toot, but when you have the spiritual strength to do the work that you are anointed to do. it's sort of like going to the doctor and it's 4 of them and one of them is really, really good, but they all have the same technique, they all have the same training, the recovery is the same, and the operation was the same, but it was just something about this particular doctor that was a little bit different. It could just be that he had a gift. And having said that, when I do the work, I've had the training. So there are tools that make the work much easier, and it makes it, because when you're using tools, the tools themselves have power. And then you're using your technique and your training, and you're adding in your gift and your intuitiveness, and you're a powerhouse.
Now, so most people are coming to you with what issues? They're just not feeling good about their life. They've got a health issue. They've got some mental health issues. Who's coming to you?
Okay. Before, they were coming to me for health issues, but I was a holistic healthcare practitioner. I had not begun to study energy work or spiritual healings. Many times I would see that some of this is mental, and most times it was emotional and spiritual. Most times it was much deeper than their physical complaint. But having been a holistic practitioner, been a naturopath, studying the remedies, studying the techniques, knowing how to detox, changing their diet and the lifestyle, I could help them very easily. And so they are and were helped. But as I grew myself, it seemed like to me the minute you get to where you're supposed to be, you don't really have to advertise or ask. They just begin to come, and they would come in not saying, hey, my diabetes is this, or, I have gout, or I have inflammation is everywhere. Yeah, they probably do. And we may touch on that. My arm hurts today. We may get there. But most people are coming in there saying, I just don't know what's going on. I haven't felt good for like the last year. After my dad died 4 years ago, I just never got back on track. I feel like I'm foggy. I can't think. They're coming in this way. They come in hurt. They're hurting. Or they come in and they say they want a colonic, but then the emotional self displays itself to the degree that I would probably say, this is really not. And most times they would say, I know. And then I would say, you might want to try womb healing. You might want to try some energy work. You might want some spiritual healing, because that too is a vulnerable type of service. And if you are not willing and connected all together, then you may not perform well in something so simple as just having a bowel movement. So whatever I pick up is what I see. And then I will say, because I feel obligated to do that, you might, you did pretty good, but you held back. And then they'll say, I know I did. And I'll say, well, if you work with your body and allow it to let go, you will do so much better on something as simple as a colonic.
And you see nowadays that people are mixing, which I love now. People are using Western medicine, of course, and going to their doctor, getting what they need from there, but they've added that holistic aspect to their healthcare practice.
Yeah.
Have you been seeing that
Yes,
as well?
they've integrated. And of course, when you come in, you're going to fill out intake form, and on it has several contraindicators, especially when it comes to colon hydrotherapy. And so they would have to sign off on anything that would prohibit us from moving forward. And many of them come in already on high blood pressure medicine, already on insulin, already on mental health issues, taking things. But they will often say, if they come to me, they are often saying, I kind of don't want to stay on it. I just want to change if I can. And in that respect, I can say, well, homeopathic remedies, we do have something for almost everything. However, you can begin to integrate it with the conversation with your doctor, letting them know that you want to try something new, try something different. And what we can do is a little bit of this and a little bit of that. and a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Because you don't want to mix anything that doesn't.
No, and you have to have them have the permission from their doctor. You know, I would never say, hey, just, you know, get permission, get an understanding with your doctor. I'm surprised lately here, now back in 2009, it wasn't the case, but now most of my clients would say, well, the doctor said that they thought it was okay. And so we can begin to start to integrate, just as you've said. In the past, things were different. Everybody had doors that were closed and nobody wanted to, you know, navigate through them, work together, you know, mix anything up. Everybody was, I'm the best, you're the best, you're the worst, you're the worst. But it is not that today. And I believe it's because we have grown enough to say, well, wait a minute, I can choose. I have a choice and I can do it this way. So it works. It works with integrative medicine. It works. And it works if you just want it to be natural. And sometimes it works medicinally. I think what happens there is if you stay on it too long, we know it's a side effect. It's nothing new. We're not shaming FDA. We're not shaming anybody. It's just a fact. You say it when you announce the remedy or the medicine on the television. We know that. And we know that long-term use of anything can be harmful. So when a client comes in and say, hey, I've been on this for 20 years, and they say, I want something different, I mean, that's a choice. Yeah.
And it's good that nowadays that people do have that option.
Yeah, and that they realize it. Because before I don't think they realized it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So in wrapping up the show today, the time has gone
Yes,
much
it has.
too fast. There's so much other stuff I wanted to talk about. We talked about the fact that you offer the I don't know whether you want to call it spiritual healing, energy healing.
Energy healing, yes.
That also part of that can be the womb healing.
Yes.
And also part of that can be the cleansing.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, definitely, yes.
And you also spoke about the herbal remedies as well, that you combine that with herbal remedies.
With the works, yes. Mm-hmm.
So it's a thing it's kind of complex. It involves a lot of...
It does. It involves a lot. It can be overwhelming for the practitioner to jump from a healing one hour and then to a colonic the next. So I try to work them out on different days now. If I'm in the healing ray and I'm in that space, I want to stay in that space, especially if I have more than one client coming in. So I am doing better with how I present it so that it is not as stressful on me.
Well, this has not been stressful at all. I have thoroughly enjoyed you as I did the last time as well, and I hope we presented some good information that folks can use.
Of course. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
You've been watching the Sisters for Fitness Wellness Show. Our guest, and we'll give all of your information at the end of the show, our guest has been Pam Reynolds. She's a holistic healthcare practitioner. Mm-hmm. And just want to say it's been great having you today.
Thank you.
I'm Stephanie Gaines-Bryant. Have a great day.